Chasing Meeples podcast. Here are your hosts, Chris and Angie.
Oh, who let that turkey in here? Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. On today's show, Angie and I finally get a chance to review Flamecraft. We tell you our top 5 games to bring to your non-gaming family for the holiday, and we have a quiz show now. Who would have thought? Thank you for listening in to Chasing Meeples. I am your host, Chris, and I'm with my co-host,
Angie.
And this is episode 2 of Chasing Meeples, recorded on November 16th, 2022. It's not the 16th, is it?
No, it's not. I didn't know if you were doing that on purpose.
Well,
Are you trying to fool everybody?
16th, but that's fine.
No, today is the 15th.
Okay, well, calendars is something I've struggled with my whole entire life.
Calendars are for fools.
You could ask my entire team at work when I tell them that they know that calendars and I don't do very well.
Oh, but I'm sure you make them know their calendars very well.
Of course, that's my job. And then I make them know my calendar too, and they love it. So what did we do last week? We didn't get a lot of gaming in last week, did we?
You were very busy. You rocked it with the first episode. That's why I'm feeling a little bit of pressure.
Thank you. You mean the editing?
Yeah.
You rocked the first episode.
You did it. You did an awesome job. The bar is set very high. I'm going to put that pressure on you because you did an awesome job, and I've been listening to what you have coming in the pike, and it's pretty good.
Thank you.
So yeah, you've been busy doing that. I did try to sit down and solo a board game, and that didn't go.
Yeah, you tried to.
Well.
You tried to solo Endless Winter like twice. You set it up and then took it down.
The first time there's a lot of, we just unboxed it, so there's a lot of pieces that need to go together, open cards, all that kind of thing. So that took a long time. And then the second time, I'm sure I got it all set up. And then I'm going through the solo rules. And there's just one thing I was stuck on. And it was a really silly rule. And in my mind, if I had been doing it that way, it made no sense. So I watched a how-to video. Not sure who the guy was. It was somebody I never watched before. And it was one of those light bulb moments where I went, oh, yeah, but it took me 20 minutes into the video to kind of figure it out. And by that time, it was pretty late at night. So I didn't finish it. So second time that I had brought it out and then ended up packing it back up. Reading straight from the rule book is difficult, but that was going to be like my challenge. I'm going to do it from the rule book. And I failed. Oh, it's a failure.
Aww.
But we're going to play it.
Yeah, she reads the rules so I don't have to. Let's just call it that. I am not very good at reading the rule books. You're the rule book reader. And I do think I'm a better teacher, though.
You're only a better teacher because you're the one who always jumps into the teach.
How dare you?
You're like, I'm going to teach you how to... You always jump on the teach. So that's the only reason why you're a better teacher.
Yeah. Well, somebody's got to jump into
Somebody's
it, right?
got to do it.
I thought you were saying I interrupt you while you're teaching.
No, I interrupt you.
You do.
So I'm a bad listener. I do sometimes think, I know that rule. He's not saying that rule. He didn't tell them that. Of course, you were going to do it down the pike and say it,
When the time is appropriate.
Yeah, when the time was appropriate. And I'm jumping in. No, you have to move it there. And that's always a big pet peeve of people talking over the teacher.
God, it is.
Yeah.
So I would love to hear how many of you have that pet peeve when you're trying to do a teach. If A, people are not listening, and B, people hop in and try to help you teach.
I think it'd be really interesting to see what your thoughts on that would
I
be.
do that during movies, though, as well.
Oh my God, it's so hard to watch a movie with you sometimes, especially if it's a movie that you know I've seen before. It's question after question. Who's this guy? And what happened here? And wait a minute, this? And just all I want to say is just watch the movie, honey.
I do that to movies you've never seen before, too.
Oh my God, what was the most recent movie we actually watched? Oh, I don't remember what it was, but yeah, you were doing
A lot
that.
of times it's
Oh, it
Marvel
was that. It was the
like that.
Clone Wars stuff. It was all that Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yes, I recently decided I was going to start watching the entire Star Wars timeline in order. I mean, I grew up from the first three, if you want to call it the classic Star Wars, and decided I was going to join the fandom and watch it from beginning to end. So I found a really awesome list online that tells me exactly which episodes to watch in what order, and it's good stuff.
I enjoy it. Believe it or not, I do enjoy those. But I always get confused about there's that one baddie who's pretending to be a good guy.
Palpatine.
Yeah.
He looks evil the whole time.
I know. But then I'm wrapping my mind around, I watched the original and the bad guys and who are the good guys, the Empire.
Well, he's in the
Rebellion.
original.
I know he is, but in the Clone Wars, in the cartoons,
he doesn't have a hood over his head.
Well, no.
Because it's like,
The
I have a hood
Empire,
now,
not the
you can't tell
bad
who I am.
guys, right?
The Emperor are the bad guy. Okay, I see what you're saying. But they're the Republic in
Yeah.
the Clone Wars, so they're technically the good guys.
Yeah, technically, yeah. So that messes me up. But I don't think about it too hard.
Before we move on, I want to thank everybody, those who listened to our first episode, those who followed and shared it with everybody. The response that we've gotten has blown me away. It really means a lot to us. So if we could just keep the love going, don't forget to email us. We would really appreciate just your thoughts. Talk to us on Facebook. If we screw up anything, tell us. Be nice about it.
Well, I just want to thank San Francisco.
San Francisco.
You know who you are.
You would not believe the party that Angie and I threw in the kitchen when I looked at the stats on this and we saw that somebody from San Francisco listened. We were like, ho ho! We have not. I did a little jig and went, strangers! Not just family. So thank you, San Francisco.
Yeah. That was fun. That was good. That was a good time. All right, Chris, are you ready?
Am I ready for what?
This is a Chasing Meeple quiz show.
Ooh, Chasing Meeple quiz show.
Oh, yeah.
We have a quiz show now.
We do.
Apparently.
We have a quiz show, and just so you know, that these questions are going to have to do with our name, and then it's going to morph into board games. So there's a theme. Just so you know that.
I have no idea what
None.
what this quiz is about. All I see in the show notes is Quiz Chicago. Unlike Board Game 101 about what is a meeple, I have no screen or internet that I can click off of like Angie did when she was on the interweb.
The interweb, yeah. Are you ready? In 1991, the rock band Chicago recorded a song with the following lyric. No use making you care about me. No way that I'm going to win. Oh, darling, I might as well be... Can you finish the sentence?
Am I allowed to ask questions?
Absolutely.
Okay. 1990?
One.
And it's a new song?
Well, it's a song from 1991.
Well, okay, that was a stupid question. So in the 90s, Peter Cetera was no longer the lead singer of Chicago.
Oh, you got me there.
Which means, who cares? I have no idea what this song is, but read that again.
No use making you care about me. No way that I'm going to win. Oh, darling, I might as well be...
Playing Catan.
Remember, this has
3 words.
something to do with the name of our podcast.
Oh.
And then leading into games. as well be playing.
I should have listened to that part where you were explaining what it's about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly.
I was like,
I can understand you until you start to speak. How about this? I can understand you until you listen. Oh,
well, you said,
Chris, this is Chasing Meeple's quiz show.
oh, yeah, and then I was panicking. I may as well be chasing.
Next question, you have to kind of get that word to get to the next question.
Okay, chasing your pawn.
Okay, yeah. We own one game with the word wind in the title. Oh, darling, I might as well be chasing the wind.
The win?
The wind.
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 And we have a game with wind in the title?
Yes. What is that game?
Oh my goodness.
Okay. It is.
No hints.
Okay.
No hints. You don't give hints.
After the colon.
Does Alex Trebek be like, this word comes after the colon? And then somebody's like, what is, well, here's a hint. No. You got to wait for the answer. Oh, Winds of Galecrest?
What's the first word? It's the name of the game.
I know. Paolo Mori and Stonemeyer Games.
Yes.
Libertalia.
Yeah. Okay. One reviewer commented. This is his comment on the game. Pure abstract chaos. I didn't understand this concept at all. While another reviewer left the comment, the game is fun! Exclamation point. The art is great! Exclamation point. I know this is a sticking point with a lot of people, but this is a silly game. I don't mind if the armor of the ship is a gorilla. What is the game rated? Yeah, it has nothing to do with that. But I thought those were funny.
What is the game rated on BGG?
Yes, what is it rated on BGG?
8.
Oh, that's pretty good. So I think we can give you half a point for that. It's 7.6.
Oh, okay.
I mean, rounding up, that would be 8.
Yeah.
Okay, Libertalia, Winds of Galecrest, is a re-implementation. What year was the original Libertalia published?
I don't know. 1999.
Not quite that old. It's 2012.
Well, I just figured maybe you're trying to be. Oh, no. 91 was that non-Peter Cetera song.
Oh my gosh, that would have been good. Ooh, I'm not that clever. The original game is rated 495. Is Libertalia Winds of Galecrest ranked higher or lower?
It's rated lower.
Yes, 808.
There's a lot of people that love that original. So that's it?
That's it. You did.
What's my score?
2 out of 5.
I got 2 out of 5, right?
2 out of
I
5.
feel like I got more than that.
The score in BGG, you said 8 and it was a 7.6. So if we give you a half point for each one, we can give you a 3 out of 5. And I'm writing this down, 3 out of 5.
What do you say we talk about Flamecraft?
Let's talk about it.
We did get it to the table after I dried off my socks. And
We've played it a couple times. I would like to set the adorable artwork aside.
Okay.
Because we know it's cute.
yes.
How does the game stand up? My first question for you is the mechanism. So worker placement, hand management, resource management. How do you think those work in the game?
Really well. Well, when I think about a game, I think about how does this flow? When I look at the player aid, you have 2 choices, right? You can either gather or enchant. And if you pick gather, there's certain things that you can do. And once you get the flow of a turn down, it becomes almost automatic. And that's a sign, to me, that's a sign of a good game, right? When you take your mechanisms. I don't really think the worker placement is the most important part of it.
Really?
Really?
That's where I disagree.
Okay, so you're taking your dragon, you're picking a shop,
Yes.
and then you get the rewards.
You need those rewards in order to do the resource management. So where you're picking your shop is important because of what benefit the dragons are giving you. Are these dragons giving you a bread? Are you getting a leaf? At least that's the way I was picking my spots. What do I need to fulfill this enchantment card? What do I need to fulfill the sparkly dragons? And that is where you were killing it. The resource management, you were killing it. And it is the reason you won.
I didn't win.
Yeah, you did.
Well, it was a tie.
Well, but you broke the tie.
Yeah.
I think that's it. But if you look what our score tracker was, I was ahead. And when you started adding up those, you had the end game points.
Mhm.
None of mine. I think I had one card that had an end game point. You just are moving up that tracks. You are good at resource management.
Thank you.
I was very impressed.
But that's why I think the worker placement part is secondary.
Okay.
Yes, it's important because you won't be able to do a turn if you don't move your dragon. I think the hand management and resource management part of the game is what really, to me, the mechanisms that made it shine, I guess, is a better way to put it, right?
Yeah.
So I really liked how the dragons had a fire up ability.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it would complicate the game if every dragon had its own ability. Instead of all bred dragons allow you to draw another dragon, instead of, all of this and that.
Originally, I was looking at it thinking, oh, yeah, it would be really neat if they did. But if they did, I would really get some serious AP. I don't know how the game would work. I mean, it would go from being a family weight game to heavy and maybe expansion.
Maybe. So our first game, we did the beginner mode. We'll call it. We used the purple cards. There are two different decks. There's a purple deck of enchantments and a gold deck of enchantments. The purple deck has a little bit easier objectives to get when it comes to resources to spend to be able to purchase the enchantment and enchant a shop. So you might be asking, okay, why do we want to enchant a shop? Why do we want to purchase this purple card, Chris? That's how you get points.
Yeah.
There's other ways to get points in this game, but that is probably the number one way to get points.
Well, I'd use those to get more cards. To me, it was tight getting extra artisan dragons. So I really was looking for the enchantments that were letting me draw the card.
And I was looking for the enchantments that would give me
the
biggest points. Yep. The difference between the purple cards and the gold has more difficult criteria to meet to be able to purchase.
Originally, I had looked at those cards and I thought, as it has like the bread, the leaf, it had the symbol for the money, which are wild in the game. And then it had that red circle with a slash through it. Because these are the harder cards, I thought it meant you could not have any coins because that's something you would see in a heavier game. So my assumption being this is the gold card, that was going to be a requirement. You can't have any gold. As it turns out, you read the card the correct way. It was that you couldn't use the gold, the wild resource to fulfill the order. That made sense.
And that, to me, was the only difference between the gold deck and the purple deck.
Yeah, that was really. I think there was maybe like one or two more resources you had to have. It wasn't, in my opinion, it wasn't very big.
It wasn't. I think we could have started with the gold deck.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. What do you think of the companion?
Not impressed.
Me neither.
I was hoping for more. I was hoping that, I don't know, like you get one companion, you get to use it once, and that's it.
Yeah, just a one-time benefit, and I never even used mine.
Well, see, I used mine. Now, my companion, I was able to use it to my benefit, but I think it took a lot for me mentally, we'll say, right? Because knowing that if I used it, I would not be able to use it again.
Really? Yeah, see, I didn't have that. I had Peter, and his special ability was as soon as a new shop was revealed, which is then, the end of the turn, you can immediately go to the shop.
And take a free turn, basically.
Yes. I think I would have had to have clarified it, but it didn't say play a dragon. So you're just going to the new shop to get the resources and the potential benefit, because with no other dragons there's only one resource. So I never really saw a moment. I mean, a lot of times I flipped it over before I could even think about using it. So Peter turned out to be a bust.
Well, my companion was Brad, and Brad was a iron dragon, and Brad allowed me to use iron, any amount of iron, for a substitute of any resource out there. So it was basically a straight up.
Brad's much better than Peter, that's for sure. Game length. What did you think about the length of the game?
It hits the sweet spot. The first game we played seemed to be longer than the second time, but we were learning the rules. I never really look into the play time of a first game.
And I didn't even look time-wise. My thing is, I think the second game was a little long. It seemed that it could have ended a little bit sooner.
But I think that's our fault because you and I, we tend to drag games out longer than they need to be. So the infamous 4-hour game of Terraforming Mars could have been ended
We min-max those
in
points.
2. But we just keep playing, and almost to the point where I don't think, at least me, I don't want to be the one to look at you and go, I just triggered the end game. I think we tend to just get so wrapped up in the mechanisms and just the game itself. I don't disagree with you about the gameplay being maybe too long, but I also think there was a lot of thinking in between turns. There wasn't that,
They weren't quick turns. That's when I had to start thinking about how to get the cards because I wasn't getting a lot of cards. So that is a trigger. You have to, as you work through the artisan deck, I just wasn't getting cards.
What do you think about the theme?
The theme, I think the theme works very well. You have these sparkly dragons, and I call them sparkly dragons because they're nice dragons. And they work with the shopkeepers. And I think that comes through really well, how they're in the shop and how you fire them up. So I think the theme comes across very well.
Obviously, the artwork is what pulls people into the game. Oh, cute dragons. This looks really neat. It is a fantastic art style, right? I think as far as theme, they nailed it. I like the humor involved with the name of the shop. I really wish I would have backed it on Kickstarter, only because I want the Dice Tower shop. There's a special card that came with the Kickstarter.
You know what? You might be able to find that promo even on eBay.
I am waiting and hoping that it shows up on the BGG store or something.
Yeah.
It's called the Spice Tower.
Oh, is it? Oh my gosh, that'd be so cool.
I want that. I shouldn't have let that cat out of the bag because I wanted to just get it and slide it in the game.
You have to be the one that sets up the game then.
Yeah.
And then that would be suspicious. That would be really suspicious if for some reason that game's all, the last time you set up a game, was 4 years ago when we would play Arkham Horror LCG.
You are full of it. 4 years ago?
I don't think you set up a game since Arkham Horror.
Lies. I had lies.
Come on, think of the one game.
Ark Nova. I had it set up one day when you came home from work so we could go right into playing it.
One day. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Woohoo.
Okay, so you're starting to make me feel like a horrible bar game bar.
Yeah, bar. You're sitting at the bar.
You're
No, that's not what I meant. I'm just teasing. That's what I do.
I know you do. So, but then I self-reflect.
You self-reflect.
So I don't read rules. I don't set up games. I just walk away and you take apart the game. You put it away. However, in my defense, you tell me you like putting games away.
When did I ever say that?
Oh, probably after you beat me and I was really mad and wanted to flip the table and just walked away. And you're like, don't worry, I'll put it away. I like doing it, honey.
I don't think I've seen you mad at a game since Pandemic Season 1. When you were so tense, you were pacing around the table. That is why we are stuck on month 12. We have not finished that game because I think the idea of losing is disgraceful.
Yeah, well, someday we will finish it.
Okay, I digress. We are talking about Flamecraft. What do you think about the replayability?
I think it's there. I think it has replay value. However, I think the more somebody plays it, everybody is going to fall into some sort of pattern, maybe. Like, this is how I will play this game every single time to get the same repeatable results. And now, granted, you could say that, well, that's the way you play every game. You come up with a strategy, you do that. However, I don't think there's many ways to play that game different.
Yeah.
You're either going for points via enchantments or points a different way.
That's why I think this is a good family weight game. It's not something that I'm going to use the word gamer is going to keep going back to. I think there are times, though, where I say, Chris, let's play something epic. And you know what I mean by that. It's a big game, thinky game. I don't think this is going to be the game. Let's just play something light. Let's do something. It's not necessarily going to be quick, but there are times where I said, I want to play a game, but I don't want to think too much. And that's where Flamecraft is going to fit in for me.
I think you're right. This fills that. It's snowing outside. Let's just make a cup of coffee and just chill and not worry about the fact that it is ugly outside.
Yeah. No, I did solo the game. I think the solo works really well. There's several different colors in the game. And when you solo the game, you play your turn the exact same way you would, except for the AI is at the end of the turn. So when your turn is over, you flip an artisan card, an artisan dragon, and whatever dragon that is, it might be a leaf or a meat, you have to put the color of that dragon on top of that shop. And then you take the card and you put it in the first position of shops that match that icon. You keep doing that. So you use all the colored tokens there. So it's almost like playing a game with 5 people. So there'll always be somebody, somebody's there, but you give up a resource. So is it that tough, The one thing that, I think it does have a good solo mode. The one thing that I think I didn't really like is that essentially there's 3 levels. You get up to 0 to 75 points. And some solo games are different of how you score and how you win. I think they could have had better scoring levels or more of them. You do unlock different cards. I wasn't intending to keep doing it as a solo, so unlocking new cards didn't really matter for me. So maybe that's mitigated if I did continue playing it as a solo game. But I think the solo did work well. The only thing that I didn't really like is the point breakdown at the end. But otherwise, I think it was a nice solo game. I did miss having, it was just bizarre because it does not have player interaction really at all.
No take that.
Well,
There is player interaction.
not much. Not much.
The only player interaction there is if you want to go to the same shop as somebody else, you have to give them a resource.
So there was something about it. I almost missed having another person there, which is kind of bizarre. But I don't know, that doesn't really fall into anything with the solo experience. That was just something I kind of just told myself afterwards. So that was just kind of bizarre, and it really means nothing. So would you buy it or tell somebody to try it first before buying it?
For me, it's a definite buy. If you have an opportunity to try it, definitely don't pass it up. I would say this is a buy. This belongs in people's collection. What about you? What do you think?
I think if you are a family with the not young but elementary school kids, if you're somebody that doesn't want something real heavy, if you're not looking for Feast for Odin, if you're looking for just a nice medium light game, buy it. I think you'll definitely enjoy it. If you are looking for heavy Euro, maybe try it before you buy it. See if somebody had it in their collection, if you can rent it out of a library or something like that.
I would definitely take this game and shuffle it back into the deck as opposed to putting in the discard pile. I don't know. That's the thing.
That's your new thing.
I'm doing it now.
You're claiming it as a thing. Awesome. That's okay. I claimed a quiz. Every week you get a new quiz.
Oh boy. Can't wait. If I were to rate the game, since people like ratings, scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate it?
I would give it a solid 7.
Solid 7 out of 10?
Solid 7.
I would give it a 7.5. Well, seeing it is November and we in America are getting ready to celebrate our Thanksgiving, we figured it'd be a good time to talk a little bit about games to take to your non-gaming family gatherings.
We have 5 of them.
Number 5.
Just one. Just One is a Repos production. It was a 2019 Spiel des Jahres Game of the Year. It also was Dice Tower Best Party Game of the Year. Disclaimer, we've never played our copy. Does not mean it's not a really good game.
Might be good for your family.
Or one that we are going to take to Thanksgiving. I think it's going to be really fun. It's a cooperative game. You're all trying to get the person, I don't know what you would call them. How about this? The person that's it. There's a card of words on there, and you want to make that person guess one of these words. So I think they close their eyes, which is kind of weird, but so everybody else, which is kind of weird.
You recommend this game? Yeah, it's weird.
You close your eyes. No, everybody else at the table has to give one-word clues to this person. Now, when you're all looking at your clues that you write down, no two clues can be the same. So any two clues that are the same, like the word is jelly, and you might have somebody say strawberry, and then the next person says jam. Jam would be discounted. You couldn't use that as a clue. And then the person who is it, that's what I'm going to call them, the person that's it, they have to guess from the list of answers. So I think that would be fun. And we're going to see because we're going to play it on Thanksgiving.
Sounds fun. It really does. Yeah, complete game is played over 13 cards. The goal is to get the score as close to 13 as possible. And based on the answers that you give, you get 1 point for a right answer. And if you have a wrong answer, they lose the current card as well as the top card of the deck. So essentially, you lose 2 points. And if somebody doesn't give you an answer, the players lose the card, which is 1 point.
Do they have a name for the person guessing the clue other than it?
No, not that I see.
All right, well, it.
Well, my number 4 that I would choose bringing to our family gathering, which we've done before, a really good light game that is a quick teach and a quick play, would be Point Salad from AEG. Point Salad is a 2 to 6 player set collection game. Yeah, so the cards come in 6 different types of vegetables. We call it Point Salad, right? So each card has a vegetable.
You're making a salad.
You're making a salad. And so it's a card drafting game. There's a lot of different ways to score points in this game. The back of each card has a different scoring method. So for instance, one scoring method may give you 2 points for every carrot you have in your salad, but it might take away 1 point for every onion you have in your salad.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you're drafting. So by drafting a different combination of veggies and point cards, your strategy would change based on what you see for point cards.
For being a really simple game, there's thinking.
There's a little bit of thinking.
Sometimes a simple game, there's not much thinking
Yes.
to it. And I like that about, you have to think a little bit.
Yep. So everybody understands. Pick a card. Do you want to score it as a point? Do you want to score it as a salad ingredient? And go. And it's just good. It's a good fun time.
Fun, yeah. What is your number 3?
Long Shot the Dice game, published by Perplexed. It's a 1 to 8 person racing game. So you are essentially, you're spending a day at the races, the horse races, and you are making bets and you're rolling dice and you're buying horses, and I just love it.
That's also like a roll and write.
It is a roll and write. It is the dice
I
game.
did not think I would enjoy it. I did not think I was going to enjoy it, and I really did.
So not a theme that you would ever think either one of us would enjoy. I don't want to say it's simple.
No, it's not simple.
It took a little bit for us to understand if we were playing it correctly.
I still have to remind myself now what the spaces all mean, but it's fun.
Yeah. So I've got it figured out. Like, I know you there is a lot to
The helmet.
the iconography could be better. The iconography could be better, or at least the player aid. I think it would end up being like, if we were to bring that to our family gathering, it would be a quick teach. I don't know if people would enjoy it as much as we do.
I think the racing part they would.
Yeah. I mean, and that's part of the fun.
And buying the horse and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I ham it up when we play it. right? So
That's fun.
you roll your dice and the yellow horse is coming around the
I
turn
give
in this
you-
one.
I give you a hard time about luck-based games, but they are fun.
That is Long Shot the Dice Game. I think it'd be a great time for family looking for something to do.
Number 2 is designed by none other than Phil Walker Harding. It is called Super Mega Lucky Box. This is a game that you will find I found it in a toy store. And I had heard about it on not a podcast, but content creators. I can't remember which ones had mentioned it. I thought it was kind of silly. It is bingo-esque, and you are simply filling in a grid. It sounds so simple, but it is so fun. As you fill in your column or your rows, you get bonuses. It's essentially 18 cards. It's only over 4 rounds. You flip a card, whatever number that is, and that's the number you circle on your grid. But you only get so many cards each round. You want to just total up your points. It sounds so incredibly easy, so incredibly simple, but it is really fun. And I even solo this game and I enjoy it. It's really undefinable why it's so fun.
Yeah, that is a fun game.
I'm not sure why, because it is really simple, and I really have a lot of fun with it.
So you look at the box. For those of us who remember, screams Schoolhouse Rock to me.
Oh yeah,
Like the way it looks, the font and the style of it, and just the whole game. I get a Schoolhouse Rock vibe from it. But it is simple. It's bingo-esque. You hit the nail on the head with that. Everybody has a 3x3 grid on the cards in front of them. Each card has a number on there. You flip the card, depending on the number that's on the card, you cross out the number on your board. So that's it. But what's really cool about that is if you finish off rolls, you can then get
you can chain it.
special things, right? So you can get there's lightning bolt symbols, and those lightning bolts allow you to raise or lower the number that was on the card. There's one. So for example, if you have 3 lightning bolts, you can change a 7 into either a 4 or a 1 because the numbers wrap. So you can go up or you
But
can
it's
go
the
down.
question marks. That's what you're always looking at when you have an opportunity to choose your cards between rounds. And I always look at the question mark.
Yeah, it allows you to cross off any number.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's the way you get the other cards you're finishing up.
Mm-hmm. So the lightning bolts, the question marks.
You can really chain things.
There's moons. A player who has the most moons at the end of the game will get 6 points.
In the solo version, you have to have so many moons to score points. If you have like 0 or 1 moons, you lose points.
Yep. If you're playing a 2-player game, you don't lose points. But if you have the fewest moons, you lose 6 points. Then there's a star. As you get stars, you cross those out, and you get 1, 4, or 9 points for collecting 1, 2, or 3 stars in a round. So it's good stuff. It is really good stuff. That is a great game. That is definitely one we should bring to our get together this year.
It is. It's a great game. Number 1. Let's talk about number 1.
Number 1 is probably the simplest concept, but there is just something about it. And that game is Strike the Dice Game from Ravensburger. It is a 2 to 5 person Coliseum dice game. Essentially, and I know I am not the first person to say this, essentially it's dice in a bowl. But it is fun. I mean, we have busted out that game while we're cooking supper. We're cooking supper, we throw it out on the table, we just start shaking dice, and we keep doing our thing.
You can shake them. You can just like flick them in there. You can drop them, let them roll off the side, and think you're cool or something like that. And you shake the dice, and if you get pairs, you take your pairs. If you get an X, you got to take that that one out.
Yep. And the goal of the game is to be the last player who has dice in their hands. So it's very simple. So at the beginning, there's one dice in the arena, and the first player throws another die into the arena. If both dice show the same number, the player must take them out. Right? So they take them out, bring them into their hand, and end their turn. If not, the player then decides to throw another die.
Wish your luck.
Yep. Possibly trying to maybe knock the dice or overturn the dice to something up in his or her favor. And a die which shows an X face, like Angie said, is removed from the game. As any die which falls out of the as is any die that falls out of the arena.
Yeah, sometimes you toss it in there and just bounces right out.
And a player who has no dice is eliminated from the game and gets to watch. And normally I am not a fan of games with player elimination.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, this game doesn't bother me as much.
Your mom played that.
Yes.
Your mother played it, so it's pretty...
My mother, who scoffs at
Everything, yeah.
everything and anything, played it, and she will not admit it, but she had fun, and she was good.
Yeah, she was good. I think she won.
She was the strike master.
She was. Grandma.
So those are our 5 recommendations of games to take to a non-gaming family gathering. If we missed one of your favorite games, let us know. Send us an email.
And let us know what went over with your family.
And I think that about wraps up this episode. Angie, is there anything else you think we need to discuss before we say goodnight?
I don't think so.
Well, then I would like to once again remind everybody, if there is any little bit of enjoyment that you get out of listening to the two of us just talk about board games, if you find us funny, show us some love, go to your favorite podcast provider. Go to all of them.
Go to all of them. We like the algorithm. Keep going.
We would really, it would mean a lot to us if you would check us out on Facebook, Chasing Meeples. Look at us on Instagram at Chasing Meeples. Share it with your friends. If you think anybody will enjoy this as well, it would mean a lot to us.
We also have email. If you have any suggestions, you can email us at Chasing Meeples. We are on Yahoo. ChasingMeeples@yahoo.com.
All right. Someday, Angie, I'm going to get you on YouTube, and we're going to be doing live streams on YouTube.
Oh, I'm too old for that.
It's good.
I'm too old and weakling for that.
No, you're fine. All right. Have a wonderful, wonderful happy Thanksgiving to those of us who live in the United States and everybody else in the world. You have a wonderful rest of November, and we will see you in December. Goodbye.
Goodbye.